Welcome to Dr. Krystal's podcast, Inspiring Sacred Stories. I am your host, Dr. Krystal, a doctor of East Asian medicine and a holistic transformational coach. Here we will shine light on wisdom keepers, paradigm shifters who inspire us to live thriving, joyful lives. Let's be inspired. Although I am a doctor of East Asian medicine, this podcast is for educational and inspirational purposes only. It does not replace professional medical advice. Please consult a qualified healthcare provider for guidance on your personal health needs. Welcome back to Dr. Krystal's podcast, Inspiring Sacred Stories. Today, I want to share a piece of my own journey and how I found my way to East Asian medicine and holistic healing. I actually began my career as a photojournalist. And what lit me up and inspired me to be a photojournalist was that it would get me into this flow state. Nothing else would matter. It would almost be like being in a yoga flow class where all I was behind that camera, being the sacred witness of what was happening in front of me, trying to capture the right light and the moment that could potentially, what drove me was I wanted my photos to uplift and inspire people. I wanted it to invoke change for the better. But my life shifted when I had my first beautiful, amazing daughter. I decided to focus more on parenting, and traveling like that just wasn't in the cards for me. At the same time, my passion for holistic living was blossoming. In my 20s, I had discovered yoga and spirituality and organic foods and started going to health food stores and studying and being a seeker. I just couldn't get enough information about holistic living because I was just driven by it. I wanted to always strive to be better. And then came a life-altering moment when my mom was diagnosed with stage 4 glioblastoma, an aggressive brain cancer. The doctors told me at best they could prolong her life with experimental treatments. And that moment cracked me open. I made a decision to relocate to Asheville, North Carolina, so I could be closer and have more time with her. And it was in Asheville that I found myself at the crossroads. I considered naturopathic medicine. I thought about nurse midwifery. And then I met a dear friend who was studying at the local school for East Asian medicine and acupuncture. And something clicked. I realized this medicine had it all. It had holistic care, deep spiritual roots, and practical tools to help people through life transitions. During my mom's treatments, I saw how acupuncture and East Asian medicine supported her not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. When she was nearing the end of her life, I stayed with her for the final month, and a dear friend came up to offer acupuncture to help ease her passing. There's a Taoist teaching that you can support the spirit in letting go of the body if the person asks for that help, which my mom did. She was like, "Help me." And by the third treatment, the energy in the room had shifted. It was palpable. You could tell that something was happening. And I still remember that magnetic pull to not leave her side. And so my friend took my daughter Maya, who was only 4 at the time, so that I could be fully present with my mom. My mom waited until her sisters and her loved ones were all surrounding her in the evening after I had spent the whole day beside her, holding her hand, holding on to her pain medication that I could offer her more morphine with a timer guided by a nurse. And so I just watched the time, and because it sounded like she was in pain, and I wanted her to have the most easy transition as possible. So I sang to her, I prayed with her. I couldn't leave. It was a very healing experience for me as well. And she waited until we were raised Catholic. So a Catholic priest came, and he and her sisters were there. And as soon as he threw the holy water on her, she stopped breathing. He even stopped and was like, "Did that just happen?" It was It was almost like she was waiting for that moment, having been raised Catholic, even though yeah, it's a whole nother story. And by then I was already in my first year of acupuncture school. I knew I wanted to devote my life to supporting people through transitions, whether it was birth, because having my first baby was life-changing. I felt called to support women in their fertility, their perimenopause, even the sacred threshold of death. In my early part of my career, I would do home visits and support people in hospice and at the end of their life. And now years later, that thread continues, whether it's through acupuncture, coaching, and this very podcast. My purpose is the same: to uplift, to inspire, and to be that lantern of light while others navigate change. That's how I came to walk this path as a doctor of East Asian medicine and a health coach. It's been woven from stories of loss, love, and purpose. And through it all, the mission hasn't changed: to help people heal, thrive, and live inspired lives. Thank you for listening to this part of my story. May it remind you that even in our most difficult seasons, a deeper calling can emerge, one that leads us exactly where we're meant to be. Thank you for joining me on Dr. Krystal's podcast, Inspiring Sacred Stories. If today's episode lifted you up, I'd love if you shared it with a friend, subscribe, leave a comment. It helps more people discover these stories of light and transformation. And if you'd like to work with me more closely, head over to www.drkrystalkinnunen.com. And as a thank you for listening to the show, you'll receive $20 off your first session. Details are also in the show notes. Remember, in this time of rapid change and transformation, you are not alone. You are part of a greater shift, and your inspired life matters. Until next time, let's be inspired.